Hey everyone, hi. So I'm going to do a book review. And if any one of you has ever worked in an enterprise deal that didn't die, didn't close, and it didn't even reject you, but it just went quiet, this book will feel uncomfortably familiar. When Deals Go Quiet by Mark Phinick is relevant. And let me tell you why. Because it names a problem most sellers feel but rarely understand. Enterprise deals don't usually fail loudly. They don't end with a clear no. They stall in silence. And most sellers are trained to respond to that silence in exactly the wrong way. This book is not written for transactional selling. It's written for founders, enterprise sellers, and sales leaders operating inside complex buying environments that have large committees, political dynamics, financial scrutiny, there's a legal review process, security review, and there's always internal resistance that never shows up on a call agenda or a discussion, right? The first important idea that Mark makes is this: silence is not a communication failure. Most sellers treat silence as a follow up problem. They send more emails, they check in, they circle back, they assume interest has dropped or priorities have shifted, assumptions. But what Mark does is he says, hey, let's reframe this silence as a moment where internal friction inside the customer organization has finally shown itself. And now you can do something about it. Interest and decision are not the same thing. Interest is what gets you evaluated. Interest is also what gets you into meetings, demos, and positive feedback. But interest does not carry risk. Decisions do. And when a buyer realizes they now have to defend cost, risk, timing, and the impact of that project internally, that's when momentum often stops. Not because they don't like the solution, but because they don't yet have decision ownership. And that, in my opinion, is the core lens of this book. Mark shifts the conversation away from persuasion and moves it towards decision ownership. A deal is not real until someone inside the organization owns the consequences of saying yes. Important. And just remember this: until then, everything else is motion, not progress. This is where the book becomes especially useful. It helps sellers stop confusing momentum with commitment. Getting a quick reply, great meetings, thank you for being here, enthusiastic stakeholders, and verbal support all do feel like progress and I appreciate it, but none of them guarantee that a decision is forming. This book clarifies how real enterprise decisions actually form inside large organizations. Decisions require four things to be true, even if they have never been stated explicitly. It's your job to bring them out by playing them explicitly in your mind. First, there must be a true economic owner, someone with real responsibility for the outcome, not a fan, not a champion in title only, someone who feels the weight of the decision if it goes wrong. Second, the problem must have measurable impact: revenue, cost, risk, or exposure. If the impact cannot be quantified in terms finance can define, the decision weakens under scrutiny. Third, the organization needs enough internal alignment to reduce friction. Your legal teams, the security teams, the finance team, the operations team, they don't need full certainty, but they need clarity. And ambiguity creates delay. Fourth, the decision must be safe to defend internally. Political cover matters. If approving this creates career risk for the buyer, then of course silence is the safest move, right? When any of these erodes, deals don't explode, they drift. One of the most practical outcomes of this book is that it helps sellers stop chasing momentum that will never become commitment. Instead of reacting emotionally to silence, here's what the book recommends: sellers must learn to diagnose which internal condition collapsed out of the four that we spoke about earlier, right? That diagnosis then determines the right response. Sometimes the move is to advance because ownership and alignment are strengthening. Sometimes it's just to intervene, to help the internal champion rebuild the internal case, quantify the risk, or navigate any resistance. And sometimes the most professional move is to walk away. Yes, just walk away. It's not walking away out of frustration, but it's because you've got some clarity that this is not the way to go. This is a major reframe. Walking away isn't failure. It's recognizing that a decision cannot currently be carried inside the customer organization. You come back to fight another day. Another reason that this book is relevant, for me at least, and I think for you as well, is this fact is about timing. Today, buying committees are larger, scrutiny is higher, budgets are tighter. Sellers are still being trained to follow up better. But the real work is helping customers build decisions they can defend. This is not a tactics book. Clearly, it's not. It's not about better emails or tighter closes. It's not about the use of AI. It's very simply a structural view of how enterprise decisions move and where they break. Once you adopt this lens, stall deals become readable. Silence stops feeling personal. Forecasting becomes more honest. Pipeline quality improves even if your overall pipeline size is shrinking. That's big learning from this one, right? The true value for when deals go quiet isn't that it helps you close every deal. It's that it teaches you which deals are actually closable and which ones are quietly asking you to stop carrying a decision that isn't yours to carry. If you sell into enterprise, this book doesn't just explain what's happening, it gives you permission to see reality clearly and act accordingly. And that alone makes it worth your time. I hope this helps. Take care.